private sector. We continue to still seek support in this regard so that we can reach out to many more sportsmen and women affected by the COVID-19 widespread. We have heard from Ministry of Health that the disease is still with us, it's still widespread, and therefore we should not imagine that we are back to business as usual. And this is really this is really what's going to be the foundation of the protocols that Madam CS is just about to announce. I also take this opportunity to echo what our colleagues have said from Ministry of Health. One of the biggest negative impacts that have come out of this COVID-19, second to death, is the stigma we place on those who have been affected. Anyone can be affected. A big part of this population is asymptomatic. Many don't know because they haven't even been tested. So in line with our sporting motto, let's be brothers and sisters and keepers of each other as we move forward and as we seek to open up the sporting activities. Ministry of Health told you that they've categorized to non-contact and contact. I think the CS will speak to that a little bit later. And it is my appeal to everyone here, those that might be able to go in on a gradual phase to adhere to what the CS and the protocols, or what the CS is about to give. Those that we might have to wait a little bit, let's continue to work together to ensure that we do not contribute to the spread of this disease, but we protect each other and keep each other alive, because eventually we'll obviously all come back to doing the business that we also love. With those few remarks, I'll take this opportunity to invite the Cabinet Secretary, Ambassador Dr. Mina Mohammed, to give her speech.
Let me recognize also PS Kobe, Dr. Francis Kuria, members of the Resumption of Sports Advisory Committee, representatives of sports federations, members of the fourth estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm delighted to engage with you virtually as we launch the guidelines for the safe resumption of sporting activities in our beloved country. I take this opportunity to sincerely thank Honorable Mutahi Kagwe, the Cabinet Secretary for Health, for his invaluable support during this process. I also wish to thank all of you for your patience and cooperation during this period. On the 20th of August, I think you'll remember this, I unveiled the draft guidelines for interrogation, all stakeholders to interrogate and provide input with a commitment to finalize work on the protocols within the shortest time possible. Over the past 3 weeks, teams from the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage and the Ministry of Health have engaged in a seamless collaboration process to finalize this protocol. I take this opportunity to thank all of you, all stakeholders who presented memoranda. It's my assurance that the committee has incorporated all your views. Ladies and gentlemen, these guidelines address the following areas. A, the resumption to training, pre-competition guidelines, in-competition guidelines, post-competition guidelines, consideration for persons with disabilities and other vulnerable groups, guidelines for indoor and outdoor facilities, guidelines for resumption of water sports, guidelines for testing, guidelines for junior athletes that are under 14, and the following are the key highlights of the report and the recommendations contained therein. All outdoor recreation and non-contact sporting activities will reopen in a phased manner as listed in the guidelines that you will see. All non-contact sports will reopen in a phased manner. All water sports will remain suspended until further notice. All contact sports will remain suspended until further notice. Testing will not be mandatory, but where required, the cost shall be met by federations, by sports organizations, participants, or event organizers as applicable. National teams participating in international events in the water sports or contact sports categories will be required to seek special exemption from the Cabinet Secretary for Sports. All under 18 sports remain suspended. Special consideration will be granted to national teams preparing for select international events. The Commissioner of Sports will work with national teams and athletes representing Kenya in international events to advise and guide on national and international compliance of COVID-19 regulations before departure and upon re-entry into the country. Support from government will prioritize Team Kenya events in a manner to be determined by our ministry in consultation with individual federations. All federations are required to submit their respective revised international Team Kenya event calendars to the Principal Secretary for Sports, Mr. Joe Okudo, on or before 30th of September 2020 for planning purposes. Private fitness clubs may reopen immediately and observe all the containment measures, including strict social distancing, sanitization, hand washing, among other measures as provided in the guidelines. Strict adherence is expected from gym owners and users in this respect. The management of all sports federations, management of training camps, sports academies, sports facilities, and other sports institutions shall ensure management of training camps and academies, sports facilities, and other sports institutions shall ensure management of training camps and academies, sports facilities.
Sorry, Madam CS, for that little hiccup. We'll be back shortly. Sorry, colleagues, too.
Yes, CS, you are now back on sound. Colleagues, I kindly urge you to mute yourself and keep yourselves muted. CS, apologies. Please continue.
So, Rose, where should I start? Where did I stop?
CS, you were giving directions on gym owners and fitness clubs.
Okay, so I'll repeat that again just for clarity. So private fitness clubs may reopen immediately and observe all the containment measures, including strict social distancing, sanitization, hand washing, among other measures as provided in the guidelines. Strict adherence is expected from gym owners and users in this respect. The management of all sports federations, management of training camps, sports academies, sports facilities, and other sports institutions shall ensure enforcement and compliance of these guidelines in order to secure the safety of our athletes, athlete support personnel, all staff, event organizers, and spectators. Further, all sports events shall be planned and executed in accordance with the Ministry of Health COVID-19 directives. I repeat that. Further, all sports events shall be planned and executed in accordance with the Ministry of Health COVID-19 directives. Ladies and gentlemen, these guidelines will change from time to time, and that will depend on the global and local situation analysis of the pandemic, guided by the reports from our Ministry of Health. I've appointed a lean monitoring and evaluation committee led by the Secretary of Administration, State Department of Sports, to oversee the implementation and the review of these guidelines as needed from time to time. And that will be done in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. I want to thank you very, very much for your attention. And before I declare the resumption of sports guidelines officially launched, let me just say the following. That we are doing all this fully convinced that our fraternity is going to be responsible in ensuring that they adhere strictly to the measures and the guidelines that have been provided today by us in conjunction with the Ministry of Health. Again, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, you know clearly that the pandemic is not yet over, and that we need to be vigilant and we need to be responsible. Make sure that, as PS Okudo said, that we become our brothers and sisters keepers that whenever we detect an incident, that we report immediately, and that more than anything else, we don't stigmatize our compatriots, our athletes, our champions, our ambassadors. Let's really be careful about stigmatization. One gets the virus, they recover from it, and they must be able to go about their normal business and without fearing of any stigma from any quarters whatsoever. As for the private fitness clubs and the other private facilities that will reopen immediately again, I'd just like to ask for your support in making sure that we don't end up having to close down these facilities in a short while because measures have not been observed. As I've said, there's going to be a lean team that will be monitoring, evaluating, and reporting to the PS Sports on a daily basis. And so let's all be responsible. Let's show that we can actually rise to this occasion, do the right thing, and prepare our country for full resumption to sporting activities. Now, with those few and many words, let me just say that I would like to declare now the guidelines officially launched, and I want to wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam CS, for launching the Resumption of Sporting and Recreation Activities Guidelines. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, we now have our protocols in place, and this means this brings a new turn of events for us to review and ensure that we adhere to the new guidelines and on recreation and sporting activities within the sports fraternity. I want to thank all those who have participated, most sincerely to thank Honorable Dr. Amina Mohammed, our CS. She has a very busy schedule, but Madam CS, we thank you for creating time to come and guide us and lead us into these challenging times within the sporting fraternity to ensure that we resume sports, but we resume sports with a lot of caution and ensure adherence, and we also ensure partnerships with all the critical stakeholders to ensure that our sporting events promote growth and development, and we do not throw caution to the wind. At this juncture, we have come to the end of our program, Madam CS and our distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So at this juncture, I just wish to say that thank you all for those who have participated. We welcome you for continued partnerships, and we also welcome you to be with us as we promote growth and development in sporting activities. And we want to ask the private sector to partner with us as we want to ask the private sector and our other partners in development to ensure that we have a fruitful program of sporting activities. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of our session and our end of program. I thank you all distinguished guests. May Lord bless you all.
Naam, ilikuwa ni hotuba ya Waziri Amina Mohamed, waziri wa michezo, akielezea ratiba na mpangilio wa kurejelea kwa michezo humu nchini baada ya kusitishwa mwezi Machi kufuatia kuripotiwa kwa kesi ya kwanza ya virusi vya corona humu nchini, na ilibidi serikali iweke ile mikakati ya kuzuia kuenea kwa virusi hivyo, ambapo mikutano ya watu wengi iliweza kupigwa marufuku, na ilimaanisha kwamba michezo vile vile ilipigwa marufuku. Na mapema mwezi huu ripoti ya kuweza kurejea michezo hiyo iliweza kuwasilishwa, na kwamba wakataka washikadau wote waweze kutoa mchango wao ni jinsi vipi michezo ingeweza kurejelewa. Na hii leo Waziri Amina alikuwa akizungumzia au akitoa ripoti hiyo na kueleza baadhi ya yale mambo ambayo labda ni sharti yatimizwe ndiposa michezo irejee. Ni wengi nadhani tu walitarajia kwamba labda michezo mbalimbali ingetangaza kurejea, lakini ni kwamba michezo mbalimbali bado haitaweza kurejea, ambayo ni michezo ya ambayo wachezaji au wanaoshiriki hawagusani, non contact sport. Kwa hivyo hiyo ina uwezo wa kurejea. Michezo kama archery imeweza mipangilio ya kurejea itatangazwa, na vile vile michezo ambayo inajumuisha kugusana kama vile soka, volleyball na michezo mingi tu, hiyo basi haitarejea kwa wakati huu, lakini mwishoni mwa mwezi kama alivyotangaza Waziri Amina, huenda tukajua ni lini au ni vipi serikali inapanga kurejea kwa soka, volleyball, ndondi na michezo mingine. Ilhali yale maeneo ya kufanya mazoezi na vile vile vilabu vya kibinafsi vina uwezo wa kurejea ikiwa vitafuata mustakabali uliotangazwa hii leo. Naam, ni kipindi cha Michirizi kama ilivyo ada ya kila Ijumaa. Mimi naitwa Bernardo Kumu, utasikia tu Jaco Sylvester pamoja na Francis Silva wakiniita mwenyekiti, ila mimi nitakuwa nikiongoza mazungumzo haya leo, uchambuzi, maoni na vile vile maelezo ya taarifa za soka. Miongoni mwa taarifa ambazo tumekuandalia leo ni kuhusiana na matayarisho ya uchaguzi wa FKF kuanzia kesho, ambao ni uchaguzi utaandaliwa katika jumla ya magatuzi 21, sawa na hatua au amri ya jopo la kuamua migogoro ya michezo humu nchini SDT ya kuweza kudumisha ubingwa wa Gor Mahia. Hizo na taarifa nyingine za humu barani na vile vile kimataifa, jongea ili umakinike kispoti. Na Jaco Sylvester na Francis Silva, karibuni sana katika makala leo. Jaco,
nashukuru sana bwana mwenyekiti. Kama ulivyosema, tunakuita mwenyekiti kwa sababu wewe ndiye kiongozi. Unajua treni bila ile engine ya pale mbele, basi yale mabogi hayawezi kwenda yenyewe. Nafikiria kwamba wana michezo wameshukuru sana. Bi Amina Mohamed ndivyo hivyo ametangaza kwamba michezo inarejelewa, lakini sio ile michezo kugusana. Hasa Wakenya walikuwa nafikiria sana kwamba mambo namna gani, je, mbona jamaa wetu wa TZ ya Tanzania kule kaka brother michezo inaendelea, sisi hapa Kenya namna gani? Lakini nafikiria hatua kwa hatua mambo yote yatakuwa sawa kabisa.
Na Francis Silva, karibu sana. Imekuwa ni muda tangu tujumuike katika Michirizi, tuchirizike pamoja.
Asante sana, shukuru sana na karibu kaka Jaco Sylvester. Baada ya muda mrefu unarejea kutoka likizo, sijui kule nyumbani walikuwa nasemaje, viwanja vilikuwa vimekimya au ilikuwa namna gani, watu walikuwa kwenye uwanja? Lakini mwisho wa siku tunakutana tena hapa na kwa majaliwa yake Mwenyezi Mungu kwenye kipindi hiki cha Michirizi. Asante sana mwenyekiti, tutaandamana hadi tamati.
Naam, Francis Silva na Jaco pamoja na karibuni kwa Michirizi. Naam, Jaco, moja kwa moja kwa miongoni mwa zile taarifa ambazo tumezipa kipaumbele, na ni kuhusiana na uchaguzi wa FK